What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Dillard, coming back at you with another podcast with my co-host, John. How are you doing, my good friend?
Doing well, man. Excited for another year of Yankee baseball. Off-season went quick this year, unlike every other year, but I'm really excited to get started finally.
And let me guess, you're really, really excited about that man that starts with Juan and ends with Soto.
Yeah, man, I really hope it's not just 1 year, but I'm very excited to see him go back to Houston where he dominated in the World Series a couple years ago, and let's see what he can do, because nothing would make me happier to just watch him, finally win the big game against them after all these years of losing to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, outside of Juan Soto, there is a lot to be excited about. There's also a lot to be concerned about as well. But let's just go ahead and jump right into it. The Houston Astros will be playing the New York Yankees at Minute Maid Park in Houston starting, when this podcast comes out today. This podcast will come out a few hours before the game comes out. We're recording this on Wednesday night, but they play them for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursdays on Fridays on Apple TV, unfortunately. Saturday is out on Fox, and then Sunday, I think it's on Yes and ESPN for afternoon broadcast. So
gross.
That is the full slate of this weekend/weekdays that we have against the Houston Astros, or the Yankees have against the Houston Astros. Can't say we because I'm not a part of the team. But there are some things that we should definitely talk about. The big thing is Nestor Cortes. This is his first ever opening day start, so big congratulations to him. I wish nothing but the best for him. He's one of those guys that is just completely, you cannot hate him. He is the least unlikable character that you can possibly unlike. That didn't make any sense, but you understand what I mean. He is impossible to hate. You can't hate the guy. He's just a really good dude. He has a really cool story about how he came to the United States with his family. You just can't do anything other than root for him. And again, huge congratulations to him. I hope he does well, obviously not for just his sake and his confidence sake coming back from injury. We didn't pitch a lot last year, but also because he's just a great guy and just everybody should be, he should be one of those guys that nobody should be rooting for. Obviously, unless your team is playing against him in the World Series or something like that. But point in case, he's just a really, really likable guy. And because of the injuries that he's been dealing with, I really am going to be rooting for him. He's going to be facing Framber Valdez, which is going to be extremely tough. I'm not thinking the Yankees are going to score a lot of runs on him, but you never know. I mean, we've talked in past podcasts before. Baseball will baseball. They could score 0 runs tomorrow against Framber Valdez. He could go 6 innings, probably go shorter than that, though, to stretch them out. I know you mentioned that. We did another take on a podcast, and my webcam crashed out on me. So I have to give John some credit for that he mentioned that Framber Valdez and probably especially Nestor Cortes are not going to go very long. But as for Nestor Cortes, I don't think that he's going to go through the lineup, especially a third time, because we both know the numbers drop off dramatically whenever he sees the lineup for a third time. So
yeah, that was the real big issue last season, was not just his injury, but it was this third time through the order, the batting average went up to 400, it doubled the third time through the order. And that's why everybody always makes fun of the fact that managers don't want the line to face a third time. But there's a lot of evidence to prove this. I mean, they've been saying this since the early days of baseball, where they're just the more you see a guy, the more you're going to be able to hit them. People like Pedro, third time through, would have a changeup to throw you a third time. And that's why I loved Sebi for all those years, because the third time he could get through the first two times through the order with a fastball and a slider, and then he would start mixing in a changeup, and we're like, all right, this guy's special. But nowadays you're gonna, the hitters are really good. You're gonna need to throw the kitchen sink at them at the gate here, and it's just third time through the order. It just does. You've seen him twice. It doesn't really do anything new. They're going to find a way to hit you. The major league hitters, they're very good.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen sometimes, the one thing that I think about is when the Blue Jays and Yankees played each other. I think it was either last year or 2022, where Stanton hit a ball that nobody has any business hitting. He hit it in Rogers Stadium in Toronto, 400 feet. It was way down by not even his knees, lower than his knees. And I'm You should
Yeah,
not be able to
that's what
hit
he feeds
that.
off of.
That's insane. But the point is like, yeah, you could have the most perfect arsenal, and every now and then someone's gonna get you. It's kind of
He's
like,
gonna get tired. He's gonna hit a pitch count. He's coming off an injury. They're not gonna risk his health. They need him to stay healthy. He's gonna maybe go 4 innings, in my opinion, and then they're gonna bring in the bullpen. But now, in my opinion, I think that the more salient issue here is not necessarily the first series of the year, it's the second series of the year. Because for some reason, we play 7 games in a row because there's no day off scheduled, because there's 2 separate series with roofs on them. So they didn't need to schedule a day off because there's no chance of a rainout. So we're basically going into a 7-game series here with 4 pitchers and like a 5th with a rookie who's coming off of surgery. So I don't know. I'm very concerned about the second series. The first series is going to be a lot of fun, but the second series, we might be going in there with a tired bullpen and with no starters. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least.
yeah, and the least thing that you want to do is already tire out your starting pitching, and they can't do what their job is, and then you're taxing out the bullpen. You don't want to already have to do that the second series in the season when you have a long season ahead of you. And that's another tough team. They're gonna have to play the Diamondbacks, who just went to the World Series. So it's not like
another good team.
It's not like once they leave Houston, it's gonna get easier from there.
With former Cardinals legend Jordan Montgomery now on that team.
Yep. And you know I love Jordan Montgomery, so I will say a lot about Jordan Montgomery. Although I didn't like him this series that I went to go watch the Cardinals, and he went like 7 innings of like 2 hit ball and no runs. Like, that was pretty miserable. That was not fun. But what can you do?
Yeah, you know.
But kind of talking about the opening day lineup, I will give credit to you on this too. He helped me a little bit. But I mean, this is the lineup that I think makes.
You didn't admit this last time.
I didn't, because now I'm going to be a good friend and give you the credit for it, because I already gave you credit before. So, but seriously though, Gleyber Torres, I personally think Gleyber Torres is going to open. He's going to start up. He's going to lead off. Obviously he's playing second base, and I don't think 2 and 3 really speak for themselves a little bit. We already kind of know this. It's going to be Soto and Judge. I mean, they've already kind of planned for that to happen for the rest of the season, which is beautiful. You get Soto on base, whether that be a walk, whether that be a single, double, and if he hits a home run, great. You already have a run on the board.
Walk Soto. I dare you to walk Soto. Go ahead.
And honestly, like, that's the wonderful thing. We haven't done a podcast since last year, so we really haven't got to talk about Soto at all. And I am just so extremely excited. Like, Soto was one of my favorite players ever since he came up in the league in 2018 as a 19-year-old. Like, that's just, and he made an instant impact coming out of the gate. Like, he is insane. There are very few hitters I've ever seen that have the kind of plate discipline that he has. And here's the thing. This is the thing that a lot of people don't even take consideration. If he works out a walk, 9 times out of 10, he's going to put the pitcher in like a 7, 8, 9, 10 pitch at bat. He's going to see a lot of pitches, and then you're going to have to be forced to face Aaron Judge. I mean, you don't really have a lot of positive things going through your mind as a starting pitcher, or even when you go down the line, a bullpen pitcher. I mean, that's going to be tough for any pitcher to deal with, regardless. It's going to be really tough. So you have that to worry about. And then you got Rizzo.
Judge.
Rizzo's back.
And then I think Rizzo after that,
And Rizzo's looked really, really good at spring training. He was seeing the ball well.
Yeah, he had a lot of hard hit balls, a lot of opposite field hits, which is what he does. He's really good at taking the ball the other way. He's really good. Him and Soto are both really good at taking what the pitcher gives you. Like, he's not gonna try to pull a pitch into the short porch that's outside. He's gonna go with it, and I like that about both of them. They're both professional hitters. I like that a lot.
And Anthony Rizzo is also not afraid to get hit by a pitch, so he'll walk a lot just by getting hit by pitches too. But it is good to see that he's recovered from his concussion issue. He looks amazing. He looks great. I hope he can stay healthy. Hope he can hit some bombs again like we know he could, and put up some productive at-bats like we know he can. Play some solid first base. Then you got Giancarlo Stanton at DH. That's the biggest question mark. Although he did slim down a lot over the offseason, he looks amazing, looks great.
Good, man.
I know there wasn't a ton of production in the beginning of spring training, but really the one thing that that makes me feel very optimistic about Stanton this year is just, it may have been a fly out, it may have been a line out, But I thought overall he's making very good contact. And I think over time, if he can put together productive at-bats and just keep hitting line drives, keep hitting the ball hard, eventually things are going to go his way. And we know this. Stanton, when he's on a hot streak, is one of the scariest hitters to face. I mean, you make one mistake and that ball goes 500 feet. So he's just a very dangerous weapon when he's on. But when he's off, it's miserable.
It looks miserable. But when he's on, he's on. And it also gives you a lot of insurance for like Rizzo. Because you and I both know that when Anthony Rizzo comes up to the plate, they're going to try to put a lefty in, which I think is a mistake because Anthony Rizzo hits lefties very well. But if they try to put in a lefty to neutralize a lefty and then Rizzo walks, then you have Giancarlo Stanton there, who's probably like an even better hitter against lefties than Anthony Rizzo is. And I mean, like, we've seen this happen a million times where like Rizzo comes up, they sub in a lefty, and then Rizzo walks or gets hit by a pitch, and then Giancarlo Stanton hits one to New Jersey. And like we're like, wow, why would they do that? That makes no sense. That made absolutely no sense. And I'm just like, well, I mean, that's their fault. We'll take it. Thanks.
And then you have after Stanton, which this is what I think at least, Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, I think Verdugo comes after Stanton.
Alex Verdugo. And then you have Anthony Volpe. And I'm really excited for Anthony. I think he's really going to take that leap offensively. Defensively, great last year, and he's going to continue to get better there. Defense is going to be great.
Pretty good. Won a Gold Glove. Pretty good.
But
hard to be much better than that.
I really think he's going to take the leap forward with his offense. I'm not saying he's going to put up like 140, 150 WRC plus seasons or anything, but I think he's going to be a lot better than what we saw from him last year. I'm super excited.
I think in spring training this year, you saw Anthony Volpe with a new swing. You saw him be much quicker to the ball. You saw him, it was kind of like how we always used to talk about Clint Frazier, which is that like his first move is really just to flail at it like real quick, like it's just a flick of the wrists and then like the barrel comes around. Like he was very quick to the ball in spring training compared to last season. He was much more level in spring training, and that's what you want Volpe to do. Like I don't need Anthony Volpe to hit 35 home runs this year. I just need him to get on base. And in my opinion, I would like to say that I think he's better as a 9-hitter in this situation because we all know that Boone likes to run like the second leadoff guy. Like he always used to put Aaron Hicks like 9th and stuff like that, or like Brett Gardner 9th. Like you want the second leadoff hitter. So that's why I personally think that you go catcher then Volpe. But that's just the way I think Boone's going to do it, and I think that's what the opening day lineup is going to be.
No, I could definitely see that. And then for me at least, I know like ours are flip flopped, but I would say Jose Trevino, and then what it's looking like now with the news that we saw today is going to be John Birdie at third base because DJ LeMahieu has a foot injury and is probably going to be out till April 5th, which is certainly not ideal, but what can you really do?
I mean,
you just have to hope for the best.
That's what we do. We get hurt all the time, but you got to go get the next guy. And also, Yankee legend Ben Rortvedt out the door. So we did a great job on that trade, guys. Well done. We could just literally have just cut Gary if we needed to get rid of him, but no, we traded for Donaldson and took on salary for what? I mean, that was the guy we wanted. They were talking all this time about, but Ben Rortvedt's the guy we really wanted, and they just trade him away. I'm just like, okay, sure, fine. I guess, they didn't expect Austin Wells to be what he was, but I guess that's just, I understand. But I think Trevino starts opening day. I think you want your best defensive catcher catching Nestor on the opening day, which makes sense. It's not like we're dying for offense in this lineup. I think Trevino will split time. I think Trevino's your number one, and then I think Austin Wells is your number two. And maybe Austin Wells will DH a couple times when Giancarlo has to sit down, maybe. Who knows?
And that's another guy I'm really excited about because a lot of the Yankees coaches, such as like Matt Blake and Aaron Boone and some of those other coaches and guys in the management, a lot of them have done nothing but rave about Austin Wells during spring training, about how he's getting better defensively, how he's getting better offensively. He's really got a bright future ahead of him. I'm very,
he threw
very
some
excited
people out in
for
spring
him.
training, which was really nice to see. I mean, that was really nice because we know his offense is really good, but it was more like the way it was described to me was that Austin Wells would be a tremendous defensive catcher if they got rid of if they had automatic balls and strikes. He'd be a great catcher because his framing leaves a lot to be desired, but his defense is pretty good.
Mhm.
Like he's pretty good at blocking. He's pretty good at throwing people out. He's got a strong arm, but just framing, not great.
Mhm.
So who knows? Maybe move to first base eventually. But apparently, I hear he can't frame at all. So we'll see.
And that's what Trevino can do best at is frame. Trevino's a framing
Trevino will steal
masterclass.
strikes.
So that would be the
Good to have him
lineup.
back.
That would be the lineup, I think, going forward. Obviously, the reason why I think John Birdie's going to start is also because Oswald Peraza is dealing with a shoulder injury until May 4th. So that's unfortunate as well. So I think right now, looking at it right now, it is less than ideal that John Birdie is going to be in the lineup. But who knows? He could have a 3-for-4 day. You literally just don't know. Baseball's just so weird. You have no idea.
I think John Birdie is this year's like Mike Tauchman. Like, we always do this where we pull like Mike Tauchman or Greg Allen, and then the next thing you know, he's hitting like 350 and like he's slugging 800, and people are like, why does this keep happening? Like, what are they doing in the cheating lab just every year?
Another Matt Carpenter situation would just be hilarious. It would be so hilarious.
And another reason why I genuinely like to believe that this is going to be the lineup is because it's got the lefty-righty, 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 or the righty-lefty, righty-lefty thing. And Boone loves doing that. I mean, I don't personally think it really matters that much, but apparently he really likes that because it makes you think twice about putting in the lefty against the lefty because the next guy's a righty. I mean, me personally, I have not seen it. I think that as a major league hitter, you should be able to hit both righties and lefties. But we talked about how the lineup is going to be Torres sort of Judge because it's righty lefty. But maybe on a day where you put Verdugo over lead off, maybe Torres is sitting for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe then you put Judge then Soto, maybe because that's what we all both know that Boone's going to do that because of righty lefty, and we're all going to be like collectively groan that day. We're going to be like, oh my god, here we go. So I just want to get everybody ready for that because we all know it's going to continue this season. It never ends.
Are you saying leading off Judge and then... sorry.
No, I mean like Verdugo, then Judge, then
Okay,
Soto.
okay, I see what you're saying. I was going to...
Lefty, righty, lefty, and Boone is like enamored with this. And, I don't know. I haven't seen the evidence to back it up that it really works anymore, but...
I was going to say Aaron Judge technically can... I wouldn't do this most of the time, but technically he can lead off. I remember, I think it was last year, he had a first pitch home run against the Tigers, lead off, I think it's going to
depend who's pitching that day. Like, if it's a lefty, I think you will go with a righty-heavy lineup because then you'd end up with like 5 or 6 righties and 3 lefties. And then if it's a lefty, if it's a lefty pitching, you'd want to start with 6 righties. That's what Boone's going to do. I mean, I think it's going to depend on who's pitching that day, I think, really.
Mm-hmm. So I think we should... Go ahead. What were we gonna ask?
Like, where do you think Cabrera's gonna play? Like, what do you think that move is? You think he's just on the bench there and he's gonna just fill in like third, and then like, I also think Trent Grisham's got to get some playing time too. I mean, like, I feel like he's not exactly the hottest offensive player, but I mean, he did have a couple good hits in spring training, and how do you not? Maybe he's gonna be like a late game replacement for Judge if you want to just get him off his feet, like at the end of a game, maybe, or like you put him in left and like to shore up defensively because we all know Soto's not exactly the hottest defender. I don't know.
I think personally, especially if it's a game that's basically out of reach, you're getting to the 7th, 8th inning and the score's like 7-0, something like that.
Yeah.
You put Trent out there, get Judge off his feet. There's no reason for Judge to be playing still at that point.
No need.
Verdugo's obviously going to play the outfield as well. I think Oswald Peraza is basically just going to be a utility player. He's just going to be kind of playing Cabrera. Yeah, sorry. Cabrera is going to be just that utility player because you know that he can play multiple positions and he plays defense very well. He's not going to be a starter or anything, but he's going to be someone who is a reliable utility player that if there are injuries that come up, which you obviously don't want that to happen, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen, especially since it's the New York Yankees we're talking about.
maybe that's what you do.
That's what he's going to be is nothing but a utility player as what it
Yeah,
sits
maybe
right
that's
now.
what you do if you want Volpe to have like a day off. Even though I personally don't think he needs a day off, or maybe you Torres, give him a day off. You move Volpe to second, or you put Cabrera at second, like,
Mhm.
and he'll play there, or you put him at third. I mean, as Waldo plays everywhere. Like the running joke was on the radio. It's like, where's Waldo? Like, where's he playing today? Because he can play everywhere, and that's why he's really valuable to this team.
Mhm.
Because you can put him anywhere you want, and he'll find playing time. And the same with Birdie. Birdie's a utility player, and his value is he'll play all over the field for you, or steal you a lot of bases, and play some pretty good defense. And that's what we're going for here. And that's why I kind of like I like the move. Don't get me wrong, I like the move. It's a good move. But it's just kind of unfortunate that we made that trade a couple years ago, lost some draft picks because of it. But that's okay.
You obviously want DJ playing more, but Birdie is nowhere near the worst player under the sun whatsoever.
Yeah,
not even close.
I really like the lineup, mainly because there's so much. What's the word I'm looking for? There's so much
flexibility,
redundancy. Like, if Rizzo's not playing, you put DJ at first. If Volpe can't play, you got people to cover it short. Like, this is not like in the past where we're basically like, all right, IKF, you can go play in center today because we don't have anybody else to play center field today. So, just do your best out there. Good luck, son. You got this. Throw you into the meat grinder, apparently.
That is the one thing I'm really excited, though, about Trent Grissom, is the fact that he is such an unbelievable outfielder. And we know the Yankees have had a lot of issues because of injuries. A lot of people playing the outfield that should have no business playing in the outfield, and they play terrible defense.
Not great.
So I think
hopefully that's behind us, and I feel like we had a very good infield defense last season. I feel like it's only gotten better, and we'll see what we can do now in the outfield defense. Start throwing some runners out, and making some cutoff throws that keep runners held to a single instead of a double. That would be great.
And I think honestly, I think Soto's going to have an easier time just because Yankee Stadium isn't as big as a lot of other stadiums. The dimensions are smaller. It's not like the Nationals Park or Petco Park. I think it'll be a little bit easier for him to play.
I mean, it's true, but like when we go play in Fenway, do you really think he's going to be playing left field in Fenway? Because I feel like you'd probably be better putting somebody that knows it better. Because I just worry about, putting somebody out there who has absolutely zero experience playing the carom at Fenway in left. Cabrera did a pretty good job last year of doing it, but, did leave a little bit to be desired. But, we'll see.
I mean, Verdugo's an option since he did play in Boston.
You could put Verdugo there. That's a great point.
We put
Benintendi out there, didn't we? A couple years ago? I don't remember.
Yeah, Benintendi. Yeah.
That was a good one. That was Verdugo. I totally forgot. You're right. You put Verdugo out there. Hopefully, what the Red Sox did with those inside the park home runs don't happen again, but that's besides the point. That's my fear, is that happens. But, well, we'll see.
So I think probably the last thing that we need to talk about, because I think we hit everything that we need to talk about surrounding the opening day game. My question for you, and I'll answer it after you answer it, but what is your who do you think is going to be very, very valuable to this club that a lot of people may not see right now going forward?
Who do I see is going to be the most valuable to this club right now? That people don't see, that they don't realize?
Like, not your obvious Soto, Judge, the obvious X factors that are going to produce.
I want to get his name first. Let's see. Hold on a second.
I know I kind of put you on the spot, so sorry about that. I didn't tell you about that before the podcast.
I'm just looking for his name.
Is there a reliever?
No.
Starter?
No. I don't know, man. I could absolutely see Will Warren being something that people don't realize, because I think that Heel is an interesting pitcher, and he's going to be our fifth starter. But in my opinion, he's going to be on an innings limit. I feel like that they're going to send him down after the first series, and they're going to bring up Will Warren. And then, because they're going to be very careful with Luis Hill. Like, they're not going to let him go 150 innings this season. He might pitch 100 innings this season, but they're not going to use him that much. Like, he's temporary. So I think that, in my opinion, you're going to need somebody that's going to be down in Scranton that you can call up and as an emergency starter, and he's going to be able to come up and he's going to be able to pitch some meaningful innings, because they really like that guy, but they just felt more comfortable starting with Luis Heel for this series. But I think Will Warren's going to come up. He's going to pitch some meaningful innings, and then I think that people don't realize that Heel, I don't think, spends the entire season up in the majors, and that's just unfortunate. But we will see.
I personally see Luis Heel more of as like a opener strategy, like an opener out of the bullpen kind of strategy, kind of like what the Yankees have done before, what the Rays are known for, because he's not going to pitch a ton because of the injury that he just got over.
By the way.
So
just stop being the Rays. It never works well for us. It only works for the Rays, and it doesn't work for us. I wish we would just stop trying. It doesn't work.
So I do like that pick a lot. Mine, you probably already know what I'm going to say. Big fan of his. Let me just go ahead and ask you, who do you think I'm going to say before I say
Big fan of his. Who do I think?
Yeah.
Big fan. Is it not Juan Soto? Because that's the obvious one.
No. It's not Juan Soto.
Who are you a big fan of that is under the radar? Clayton Beeter.
Yes, sir. I was about to say, you can't even say Juan Soto's under the radar. That doesn't make any sense.
That was the part I thought in my brain. I'm like, yeah, he's a little under the radar. I mean, we don't know.
But yes, my pick would definitely be Clayton Beeter. I started working for the Tulsa Drillers, which is the double-A affiliate of the Los Angeles Dodgers, just as a camera operator in 2022, coming right out of college. And then I also did more stuff with them. I did pretty much everything in 2023. And then right now, is my first full season. So this has been just, I will have to say, it's been an amazing opportunity. But with that being said, with that experience, Clayton Beeter used to pitch there in 2022 and 2023. He was in the Dodgers system, then he came over, was traded to the Yankees, and that was, I believe, the Yorbit Vivas deal, because Yorbit Vivas is also another one. That's another one I was thinking about, because he also played for the Drillers last year, traded, and now he's with the Yankees. So that's another one I am interested in. Just from the perspective, I'm kind of biased because I got to watch these guys half of the games a season. But really, honestly, for Clayton Beeter, I'm really excited for him. He did struggle quite a bit in Double-A when he was with the Drillers, but he always had really good strikeout stuff. And the main denominator for why he struggled was always the same thing, and it was just the walks. If he could command and locate well, he was one of the filthiest pitchers on the planet. He's got nasty stuff. It was just always a matter of walking too many guys, like walking like a 5.0, 4.0 BB over 9, which we know is not good, especially for a bullpen.
Not great.
A bullpen piece. That's not good at all. But
can't walk people in the majors.
He looked pretty good in spring training. And I would like to put some of his spring training stats up real quick. Because actually, fun fact, I don't know if you noticed this or not. I didn't notice it until just lately. I'm pretty sure this is the first time Fangraphs has actually put spring training, like live spring training stats on people's pages. I don't know if you noticed that or not. It's pretty cool.
I've never noticed that. I remember you were very excited when we traded for him. It was the Joey Gallo trade, from what I remember. We got Clayton Beeter back, and I was like, we got a live person back in that trade, and like a good prospect. I'm genuinely shocked. And I was wrong. I meant Oscar Gonzalez got hurt, not Vivas. Oscar Gonzalez got hurt.
But looking at his spring training stats, I mean, 17 innings, 3.18 ERA, 9.0 K per 9, so averaging 9 strikeouts. And then here's the thing that really stood out to me. So, like, for example, last year he was with Scranton, he had a 5.58 BB over 9. Drillers the year before, the same year actually, 4.60. Then in 2022 it was even worse, 6.10. Spring training, it's not ideal where it could be, but it's 3.18. So what that says to me is he's making progress.
That's what's in the right direction.
Exactly. That's what's really gave me a lot of optimism, is the fact that obviously still got to work on the walks, got to command, be more precise, but after all, he's got the Matt Blake cheating lab, as we call it. I think Matt Blake can do a lot of good things with him, and I think so far with what he was doing in spring training, it's really been paying off. He's looked pretty solid. I'm not saying he's going to be Garrett Cole or a top ace or the best reliever in all of baseball or anything, but I definitely think that if he can just limit the walks and just do what he did in spring training, I think he will be a valuable piece out of the bullpen.
Yeah,
100%.
Sure. I mean, we'll probably see both Warren and we'll probably see both Beater at some point during the season. Like, it's just inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want like my pick, like version 2, like if you want my really under the radar pick, Jason Dominguez.
Oh yeah, definitely under the radar. Definitely under the radar, without a doubt.
That one's under the radar. More like just because we're not thinking about it right now because he's not playing. But man, if he comes back and he plays with like the same fire, like he's gonna motivate this team. I hope the same way he did when he came up originally. I can remember that series against the Astros we played last season, and we were just like, I think we swept that series. I want to say we swept that series, and that was like shocking at the time because the team was just struggling mightily, and then that kicked off like a long winning streak, and it was just nice. Like all of a sudden, the team is playing with fire and emotion again. You're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I like watching this, but we'll see.
That was legit the best series they had the whole season. By the time,
it was probably the best series we had all season.
And by that time, they were already out of the playoffs. They clearly weren't going to make the playoffs.
Well, I don't think it was impossible. I think we had to rip off a crazy winning streak to do it. And a lot of things had to go our way. But I don't think it was impossible. I think we still had our destiny controlled at that point. But, to quote a famous Yankee, it was getting late early.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And I can only imagine the things that Jason also could just learn from Juan Soto this year. I mean,
that's going to be fun.
It's going to be crazy considering.
Yeah. I can't wait, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. This team is certainly, hopefully, I say certainly, hopefully, like that's a phrase. I'm certainly hopeful that, offense will not be our problem this season because I think that we finally have a team, God forbid they stay healthy for one season, please. But like they actually look like they've got a very, very potent lineup right there. Of course, come back to me in 3 months and we'll see what we've got. But right now, looks pretty good on paper.
Mm-hmm. And that's all you can ask for. Just hope. The only thing you can really hope for going forward is please just stay healthy. Please just stay healthy. That's going to be the thing that kills them is if they can stay healthy or not.
Yeah.
Like it always does. Typical Yankee fashion in the last, 5 years now, especially since like 2019 was the first season where they just had a ridiculous barrage of injuries and.
Yep.
But yeah, what can you do? But that's really all. That's really all I have. Is there anything else that you kind of want to nail in the coffin before I send it home?
No, not really. Nothing really comes to mind, really. That's basically it. Let's say it every year. Let's, hope for the best. Go for 28 this year, like we always say, and let's just enjoy we don't have to think about World Series now. We can just enjoy the games, and hopefully that got off to a good start. That's all I can really hope for.
All right, well, that's all I got too. Thank you, everyone, for watching this podcast. Hope you guys enjoy not only the rest of your night, but I hope you guys enjoy having baseball back because I'm super excited for it, not just for Yankee baseball, but also my job with the Drillers and also watching all the other teams because I try to watch everybody. But hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you guys on the next podcast.
Peace.